It's time for the hot topic of the hour. Former President Trump's so-called hush money trial entering its final stretch as the defense prepares to resume cross-examination of ex-lawyer Michael Cohen on Monday. The DA's office pressing Cohen on his history of lying under oath, his recollection of events central to the case, and his motive for turning on his former boss. Many people say it was a crushing of Michael Cohen yesterday. Former legal advisor to Cohen, Robert Costello, telling America's Newsroom he believes he should be called to testify because he says the grand jury did not get all the information needed from Cohen and that Cohen had nothing on Trump. Watch this.
Mr. Trump directed me to use my own personal funds from a home equity line of credit to avoid any money being traced back to him that could negatively impact his campaign.
He kept on saying over and over again, 10 to 20 times, I swear to God, Bob, I don't have anything on Donald Trump. He
asked me to pay off an adult film star with whom he had an affair.
He said specifically, and I cross-examined him on this was my idea.
I was extremely proud to be personal attorney to the President of the United States of America. I did not want to go to the White House.
When he was elected, he took the whole Trump inner circle to Washington, with one exception, Michael Cohen. They left him back in New York. Michael Cohen was very unhappy about that.
Costello also noting that Alvin Bragg's team, quote, did not want to see or hear exculpatory information that he provided. Cheryl, by all accounts, it looks like Michael Cohen was caught in a big lie yesterday, and even the liberal media is talking about it this morning.
Exactly. And what is the defense going to do with all of this new information from Bob Costello, who has now been released from his attorney-client privilege agreement with Cohen and now can finally speak publicly? There's so many things to unpack here. But first off, Alvin Bragg. He had hundreds of emails from Costello, but apparently those didn't really go to the grand jury. Now, those grand jury proceedings are, of course, in private. We don't know the full extent of what the grand jury saw or didn't see, but did Alvin Bragg absolutely squash any information from Costello because he wanted to get the indictment against Donald Trump? That's issue number one. Also, I thought this interview was riveting yesterday because he talked about the panic that Michael Cohen was in when he got, when he got raided by the FBI, and that he realized that he had to do something, anything to save himself because he was, quote, terrified. And then, of course, he wanted to go to the White House. We're sure he did, and he didn't. But all of this absolutely brings up again the question, was Michael Cohen lying on the stand this week? I'm telling you, Costello is this new information is fascinating to me, Maria.
Yeah, and you got to give the Weaponization Committee credit for calling in Robert Costello to tell his side of the story in the middle of this testimony from Michael Cohen, Krisha.
You really do, because like Cheryl mentioned, his testimony, if he were to be brought in, would be incredibly powerful because it again just shows what a serial liar Michael Cohen is. And this is what we saw yesterday on cross-examination. Todd Blanche was calling him out, saying, oh, during this phone call, this is when you supposedly were speaking with Donald Trump about legal claims with respect to the quote-unquote hush money payment. You were actually talking to Secret Service instead about a 14-year-old who was supposedly harassing you. So that was a complete and total lie that Michael Cohen told, and even the jury was reportedly shaking their head with good reason because this case is falling apart.
Yeah, it sure is. It seems that way. Mitch, your reaction?
You know, when you put somebody with zero credibility like Michael Cohen, who went to jail for lying on the stand as your star witness, you shouldn't be surprised that upon cross-examination, you're going to knock one or two legs out from underneath him. And I think yesterday's testimony about the phone call that never happened in the first place, I think that's what the jury heard. And now the jury's, going to spend the weekend, because there's no trial today, starting to reflect on how lack of credibility Michael Cohen really has.
Yeah, I would have liked to be in the courtroom at that moment, Cheryl, when they're talking about this phone call that Michael Cohen had with Trump's, security guy, and all of a sudden the defense picks up the texts, and it's clear the phone call never happened.
Maria, Cohen's
going to Trump.
He's going to be back on the stand. The defense needs to spend the weekend. This is their opportunity to blow this case out and show that Alvin Bragg brought this case for political motivations only.
Yeah. All right. We'll take a short break and come back with a lot more right here. Stay with us. We'll be right back.